of it all. All right. Women on the Rise Telling Her Story was started in 2004 by women who were formerly incarcerated, working with women who we'd left behind in prison, who are currently incarcerated. So it's the first organization that's founded by women both in and out of prison. We received our 501c3 from the Long-Termers Committee inside Bedford Hills. And since then, we've been focusing on changing public perception and policy of women as they've been impacted by the criminal justice system. And we've done phenomenally here in New York City and spread nationally and worldwide in working with the UN through Esmeralda and working with the Peace Development Fund. And so that's pretty much the global picture, but let's get down to what it is that we do. We know that women are invisible. We know that we don't think about women going to prison pregnant. We don't think about women having reproductive justice issues. We don't think about women with reproductive justice issues anyway, right? And usually men make the decisions about what we need to do with our bodies. And so when we talk about women in prison, we talk about those issues specifically and the conditions of confinement in which we are subjected to, which prohibit us from being fully self-expressed, having the right within our own bodies, receiving information that is wrong, is most of the time not correct, is having no choice of where we receive our medical care, sometimes within the facilities themselves, because they are islands unto themselves, regardless of where you go. In New York State particularly, we've made headway. However, there is a lot more that still needs to be done to protect women's rights. And I mean rights beyond just having reproductive justice choices, but rights as women ourselves within our families, within our communities, and within our freedoms, and what it is that we are facing once we are released. So this is what Worth does. And so myself and 17 women came together and started this organization. We've known Dr. Divine Pryor for a very long time. We're colleagues. We've been doing this work for over 20 years. And it's very necessary. So I stay in my lane. This is where I stay. I usually drive pretty well in this lane. My lane is the women's lane, right? And giving voice and being fully self-expressed. And I've had to come to this place because I was arrested 61 times and I served 5.5 years. And it did not deter me from making sure that I would get to this place in my life today where it is an experience that I had, it is not who I am. Mm-hmm. So when we speak of issues of confinement, we have to remember that these are all experiences that our brothers and sisters have. This is not who they are. All right? And it's very important, right? For me especially, from where I've been and where I am now today. And for my children, from where they've been and where they are now today. And for my community and where they've been and where they are now today. And so it's very close to my heart. So what we've done as an organization is we've changed some legislation and we've changed the perception of women from 2009 on. So remember we started in 2004, we hit the ground running. We changed the law specifically in New York. We were the 7th state that no longer shackled and handcuffed women during labor and delivery. Mm-hmm. And so the 7th state, remember we have 50 of them. The 7th state in 2009 that no longer shackles women during labor and delivery in transportation to and from the prison to the hospital. So that means, right, now there are over 23 states. We still have 50 states. That's right. Now there are only over 23 states, only 23 states that no longer do this, that no longer have this particular policy that restricts women from giving birth to their children in a safe way. It's as if their child is a co-conspirator to their crime. That's right. And so these are the things that Worth is bound to change nationally. And these are the things that Worth does. In addition to this change in law, we also changed the law around the Adoption Safe Families Act to an expanded discretion act, meaning that no longer, by the law that was passed by our favorite president, Clinton, right, where we would take our children away from us who were locked up, right, within a 15 to 22 month time frame, meaning their sentence was anywhere between a year and a half, right? During that time frame in 1994 to 1996 and beyond, the median sentence a woman would receive is 36 months. So she automatically lost her rights to her children.
That's right.
There are many women that have been impacted by the criminal justice system here in New York State who no longer are parents to their children.
That's right.
Because our state has deemed it so that women are seen as not fit mothers. And we've fallen for the okie doke. We've gone right along with it, said, oh yeah, they're crack moms, they're no good, they should have their children away from them, they shouldn't be with their children, they shouldn't raise their children because they have a disease, right? Addiction is the only disease that we lock people up for.
That's right.
And we are locking people up and taking away their children. And so we had this law passed in 2010, right after the shackling law was passed, where the judges and the courts and foster care would look at the relationship of the parent with the child. Whether they had a relationship or not, whether she just had her baby or not, whether she had a relationship, whether she was using drugs or not, but the relationship, and give her an opportunity to establish one while she's serving her time, so that she would not lose her parental rights. When mothers go to prison, they think about their children. When fathers go to prison, they're not thinking about their children when they come out, but mothers are. Mothers are usually the ones who are taking care of the children, the extended families, when a father is in prison.
That's right.
And a mother will go and make sure that her children see their father. But a father will not make sure that the children will see their mother who is locked up. He will look for another woman. And that's just the way it is. And that's the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality. So when we go into the prisons where we see women who are convicted of crimes, we do not see a lot of family members visiting. One, because the prisons are often too far away from where the family lives.
Right.
Two, it's a financial burden. And three, women are just not seen as important. Right? And that's what we try to change. And it's very important. So that leads me to the new project that I'm working on, which is a visiting project in Queens specifically, which has one of the highest rates of incarceration of parents. And I bought some flyers here. I don't know whether any of you are in Queens, but certainly we are, and so those are going to be passed around. We are currently partnering with York College and community folks in South Jamaica and Far Rockaway, assembly people and politicians and the Department of Criminal Justice and Community Supervision, even, having a conversation with the acting director of DOCS, Department of Community Supervision, Corrections and Community Supervision. So what we want to do through our collaboration with the Child Center of New York, because now Worth has moved beyond doing the organizing, we continue to do that. We continue to do our work nationally, but now what we're doing is developing programs within organizations that work within our communities. This particular organization, the Child Center of New York, is right in South Jamaica, in one of the areas hit the hardest by incarceration, familial incarceration. And what we want to do, since they're a clinic, is offer wraparound services to the whole family. Those that are coming home from prison, we want to offer televisits to the children who have parents in prison. So do you all know how many prisons we have in the state of New York? 54.
Wow.
Do you all know how many prisons are actively offering televisiting? 2. Every one of them have the capability to offer it because they also offer opportunities for folks to have parole.
That's right.
Board commissions, yes?
That's right.
Medical visits over the internet. So why is it that our families are not receiving the same opportunity if they have the capability?
Wow.
One is the technology is still terribly behind.
Right.
And we're working with docs to have them put in new units, and we found out exactly when they would be put in, and they're going to be put in where they're going to upgrade the system from an IP system to more of a technological system where we're not basically using the cloud yet, but we will have the ability to have these visits via televisiting. And so it's about working with systems that we've normally not worked with, having conversations with people we would not normally be in the room with, coming to an agreement of the necessity, because everybody has a family. Everybody comes from a community. You know, I start my classes off with my youth in my room, and I said, how many of you were children when you were little? Right? And that's just to bring presence to the room, right? And so if we forget that we were children when we were little, then we forget how important it is for our future, right? Because we certainly wanted the best for ourselves, and we certainly want the best for our children. So that's the short of it, and I know I try to keep things in order.
Extraordinary, great, wonderful.
And